Welcome everyone to a new video, and today is the appointment setting ultimate guide. Okay, so this is mostly for phone setting, and this will show you everything from what you need to say on the phones to make sure that your appointment actually shows up and how you can actually make money from the work that you're doing. Okay, so I'll hop right into this one, but if you want to apply for some more hands-on help from myself and my team, click the link below and we'll see if it's a good fit. But let us hop into this. This one might be a little bit longer, so grab your popcorn and whatever else you need and let's hop right in. Okay. So this is the ultimate appointment setting guide for phone setters specifically. Okay. So I'll just be going through the framework and showing you exactly what you need to say and pretty much I'll show you how big this is. I'll show you literally every scenario that could probably ever happen on the phones. And I'll show you exactly what you need to say to get around everything and all of that great stuff. So obviously you're going to be calling people that are more inbound leads that have probably applied into the VSL or they've opted into a free training or they've gotten a lead magnet. If they got a lead magnet, the first like 10 seconds are a little bit different, but the rest of the call is super, super easy. So I'll show you exactly what to do. Okay. So first thing is obviously asking them, hey, is this Kishan? I don't use any fancy tonality tricks that you might see of like, hey, is this Kishan? Could you mind helping me? Like, we don't need any of that bullshit. Like, just get into it. What I like to say for phone setters is if you sound more like a customer support rep than a sales rep, and you're bubbly and bubbly to a point of like you're still holding people accountable as you need to, but you got to think about your job as an appointment setter, right? You are the first touch point in this business, right? It's like if you went to a nice restaurant and the door dude was just super bubbly. He was nice. He was confident. He was chill. He was nonchalant. He was just a great person. You're already going to have a good perception of that business, and you're going to tip well, and you're going to keep coming back and be like, "Wow, that door dude was lit." Right. Same thing goes with your info product company, right? If your first touch point super strong, he's an expert. He sounds confident. He sounds like an expert, and he's great. Like people are going to buy from you. Okay, so even though appointment setting is an entry level role, it's really, really freaking important to sound confident. Okay. So we'll start off the call with, hey, is this Kishan? And then, of course, they're going to, hopefully, if you got the right number, they'd be like, yeah, yeah, who's this? Let's say I said James instead. Hey, is this James? Yeah, yeah, who's this? Hey, this is Kishan from Closer Cartel. I saw you filled out an application to speak with our team just like 2 minutes ago about how to get into high ticket sales. Does that ring a bell? So just curious, right? No fancy tactics or no fancy tonality tricks or anything. Just straight into it and be like, "Hey, you filled out the application. That was you, right? That was like 2 minutes ago." Yeah, yeah, that was me. Okay, cool. And then if they're somehow confused, just give them as much context as possible. Give them the influencer's name. Give them the email they signed up with. Maybe even put in their what what their responses were to like the application questions and just stuff like that. If they're like, "Oh, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't you, Kishan at gmail.com. You said you wanted to make 10 to 15 grand a month and leave your job with, and that was your goal with high ticket sales. Was that you? Yeah, 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 that was me. You just got to read tonality. Some people just mess with you and they're just opting in to funnel hack or just do some other stupid shit. Um, but ideally, let's say that, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, that was me. Cool, man. You got a few minutes to shower quick just to see if we can help, like 3 to 5 minutes? Yeah, of course. If they say no, this is where you'll either figure out a better time or you'll read their tonality, right? So if they're just like, yeah, 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 man, I just can't talk right now. Okay, cool. Are you saying that because you don't want to speak, or it's just a better time? If you don't want to speak, I just want to make sure that you're still looking for help on XYZ outcome that they send their application. So ideally, you get past this and be like, oh yeah, yeah, cool, man, what's up? And then you get right into it. Okay. Good. Yeah. So I guess what caught your attention made you want to fill out the application just to see how I can help. They usually say something like, "Oh yeah, I've been following you guys for a while and just need some extra help." That's obviously if it's organic. Um, Maybe they came from a paid ad. They're like, "Oh yeah, I saw your guys' ad and I just want to make some extra money, so I figured why not." Either of those answers are fine. Um, we don't need any perfect answers here of like, "Oh my god, I've been following you guys for 15 years and like here's my money now." Like we don't need any of that. But obviously if you get a better answer here, it's good. Like really we just want like a broad thing to find out an outcome, right? Like if they come on, they're just like, "Oh yeah, I just like the ad." Like they're not here just because they like ads. They saw something in the ad that actually caught their attention and made them fill out an application. So you would want to dig into that and be like, okay, cool. And what about the ad? I know we have a cool camera and cool marketing stuff like that. But like, what specifically about the ad? Like, usually people say like they saw that you can make money with it. I'm sure that's what it is for you. Yeah, 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 I want to make some extra money. Okay, cool. And then we get into it. Cool. So like, let's say they say, yeah, I saw the ad and I'm just looking to make some extra cash on the side. Cool. And what do you do right now to make cash? Like, what do you do for work? And then if they sound like they're young, maybe they sound like this. You can ask them if they're in school, or that like they're in college or whatever. Or you can also depend on their applications. Like if you have the right application questions, it might say if they're like in college or they're working a job or whatever. So you could just ask, "Cool, what do you do for work?" "Oh yeah, I'm an engineer." And then this is where you start actually building the gap and getting into like an actual outcome of what they want, right? So the simplest question you can ask here is like, okay, cool. And like, what's the long term goal with sales? Is it to get out of your job and do something like sales full time, or is it just like use this as a side hustle? We Even though he said, yeah, I want to make some extra cash, the issue with that is that everyone will answer that question at a surface level. Why? Because just making some extra cash is a way easier answer to give than, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna leave the job that I've been working for the past 15 years." Like, nobody, like, wants to say that off the bat. You will get your people that'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I wanna get the hell out." But, like, there will be people at the beginning that'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I just wanna make some extra cash," right? So, you need to dig into that. So, I would ask this question of like, "Okay, well, what's the long-term goal?" Um this is where listening to tonality and listening in general, which is super important, because we want black or white answers here, right? We either want, you want extra cash on the side, or you want to leave your job. Ideally, they say that they want to leave their job because that's where we start figuring out pain and like the reasons why they want to leave their job. You might even hear them say a lot like, "Well, just to start off, I want to make it a side hustle, and then we'll kind of see where it goes," right? And then, of course, you'd be like, "Okay, cool. Well, I didn't think you'd be here today if you didn't feel like it could eventually replace your job, right?" So, like, is a goal like you mentioned before? Like, I'm not asking you to leave your job tomorrow or anything like that, but like the goal is to get out eventually, is what you're saying. So you would say something like that, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, the goal is to eventually get out." Then you would go here. Okay, cool. So what? And then you want to use like more of a concerning tone here, right? Because this is a concerning question. "Oh shit, what's kind of the biggest thing that's making you want to leave the job?" And then you can be more specific there and be like, "Okay, I know you said you're an engineer. Like, what's kind of the biggest thing that makes you want to get out of the whole engineering field?" It's like a concerning but curious question, right? Because like again, this is a total 180 for some people, right? Like leaving your job should not just be this, "Oh yeah, why do you want to leave your job?" Like, "Oh shit, why do you want to get out of the job?" Like what kind of going on at work that makes you feel like you want to get out of that? But the important thing to learn here is that it's not the positive side of that, right? So again, something important to notice is that we're actually going the negative route than the positive route. For example, if I had asked, "Oh yeah, what's the biggest thing that's making you want to get into sales?" Right? I'll get all positive answers. They'll be like, "Oh, I can travel, I can make more money." Like even though you could turn that into a negative conversation and be like, "Okay, so are you not making enough money now? Are you not able to travel now?" Like you're just going to start getting some like kind of the point of this is like you're going to get to the black and white answer quicker if you just go the negative route. So again, the negative route is like, okay, what's the biggest thing that's making you want to get out of the job? What's the biggest thing that's making you want to get out of the engineering job, right? Um, the answer we're looking for here is like, "Oh, dude, I want to leave my job because I just don't feel free. I just don't have enough time at home. I'm just not making enough money." All those type of things, right? And we can even dig into those answers too. Like, okay, and how much do you make now? "I make 70K a year." "Okay, and what's kind of happening that's making you feel like that's just not enough?" "Well, dude, by the end of the month, I'm left with like $400 a month." "Oh shit!" And what? Like at the end of the month, it just feels kind of tight. "Yeah, okay." "And what if that's just not allowing you to do everything you want to?" "Yeah, it's not, man." And then cool. Now we have some pain. We're like, "Oh shit, I don't have enough time at home. I'm just not making enough money. I just don't feel free." Like those are the things we want. And then we get into the time gap. Okay. So, oh shit. And like how long has this been going for? So I'll give you like a more specific one. The big thing about this whole framework is that we just want to be as specific as possible, because what you'll start to realize is the more specific question you ask, the more specific answer you're going to get. Okay. So it'll be, yeah, I guess how long we've been kind of feeling this way for, that just the career we're in is just not allowing us to make the money that we want to, and just be at home as much as we want to for us and our family. It's a very specific question, not just, well, how long you been feeling that way for? Feeling what way for, right? So like be specific. How long have you felt like the job just isn't allowing to make the money that you need to, I guess. And it's not allowing you to be as free as you want to. Right. So again, more specific question. And a big thing here is always focus on the outcome. This is specifically for like biz ops and B2C. Always focus on the outcome and not the business model, right? Because dude, people could be coming from your ads within a 48-hour time span. Let's say you're selling like Amazon FBA. Maybe 48 hours ago, they've never heard of Amazon FBA. They just saw your ad and like, "Oh my God, that's a way out of my job," right? So don't focus on like, "Oh, well, how long have you been wanting to get into e-com?" Like, no, like focus on like, Oh shit, how long we've been feeling like the job isn't allowing us to be as free as we want to for us and our family. That's what we need to focus on, right? Because everything is outcomes, right? Most people, when it comes to B2C, they don't care if they're doing e-com, if they're doing Amazon FBA, if they're doing sales, they're doing TikTok shop, they're doing copywriting. All they want is a way out, right? A little trick you can always remind yourself in your head of that is like, and you can literally ask prospects this, is like, okay, cool. Like if I were to if I asked you to stay in your room for 3 hours a day for 20K a month, would you do it? Hell yeah, I would do it. Well, why would you do it? You're standing in the middle of your or in the corner of your room. Oh, because I'm making the money I want to. Boom. Okay. So you don't care about the vehicle, you just care about the outcome, correct? So just little things like that, right? So let's say we get, oh yeah, I've been feeling that way for 3 years. Oh shit. Okay. In the past in the 3 years, okay. And have you like tried anything in the past 3 years so you can't leave that job? You can be not as stressed as you're wanting to. So again, okay, so now it's like time gap, and then it's like, okay, so what have you tried in that time gap so you can get to your desired outcome, right? Um, and this is the phase, and this is what I call it, is just asking the most obvious question. People make this phase, and honestly, like most of these calls, just so damn tough and so hard to like understand. Like you got to remember, for all of you guys that are watching this, and all of you that like don't know this type of stuff, like you guys are getting into this field as appointment setters, which is a very entry level role. And if you're trying all this complex shit, like all these like fancy reframes and all this other stuff, like you're just gonna get confused. And if you're confused and your prospect's confused, now we're just having confusing conversation, right? But if you're speaking at a third grader level, just like I'm making it here, like they're going to be able to understand that as well, and the conversation is just going to be a lot more smoother. Okay, so all we need to do here is just ask the most obvious question. Okay, so like let's say we ask, okay, so what have you tried in the past 3 years so you can get out of your job and be as free as you want to? Let's say they say, I haven't done anything. All we got to do again is just ask the most obvious question. Oh shoot, what do you feel like you haven't tried anything? Very obvious question. If someone says I haven't done anything, why haven't you done anything, right? And then they might say, "Oh, I just didn't know where to start." Again, most closers would just stop here. Sorry, I need some water. That was a lot of yapping, but um, a lot of sorry, not a lot of closers. A lot of setters would stop here and they'd be like, "Oh, he didn't know where to start, so I'll just stop." Like that's the difference. Like we got to get to the quote unquote mental block. That's what I call it. Some people call it limiting beliefs or whatever the hell they call it, but same thing, right? So they might say, oh, I haven't done anything because I just didn't know where to start. Is that a good enough answer? No. Okay. So this is how you handle that and be like, and I can understand that. Like usually when you don't know where to start, what do? Usually you help, right? Like let's say I didn't know how to tie my shoes. What would I do? I'd go ask a friend, hey, can you show me how to tie my shoes? Right. So like in the past 3 years of you kind of feeling this way, have you reached out for any help so you can leave that job like you're wanting to? Then they might say, no, I didn't get any help. And then all you gotta say is like, dude, and I'm not trying to sound like a broken record here or anything, but like, what's kind of the biggest thing that stopped us from getting help? Again, all I'm doing is literally again just asking the most obvious question, right? So, okay, and what do you feel like kind of stopped you from getting any help, right? Then, it usually come down to some sort of fear, right? They might say, "Oh, the money stopped me, the time stopped me. I thought I could do it on my own." Like all of that, even if they say that, it'll just come down to some sort of fear. It'll probably come down to skepticism or uncertainty or fear for the first time or whatever, something along the lines of that. Let's say they say, yeah, I guess I've always been just a little skeptical of all these people with courses, right? I hear that one a lot, right? But that means what has stopped them from actually getting to where they need to be? It's not that they haven't had the time. It's not that they don't have the money. It's not that they didn't know where to start. It's the fact that every time they like it's all just the root cause, right? The reason why they didn't know where to start is because they didn't have the help, and the reason why they didn't get the help is because they're scared to get the help, right? So I think you guys are understanding it, right? So like, let's say they say that, like, oh, dude, I just been very skeptical with all these online courses and stuff, and be like, and this is where like most of the pre-handling starts, right? Some people say, um, and then some people might even argue like, oh, why would you get into this on a setting call, right? But like, let's think of the reasons of why someone wouldn't show up to a call, right? Um, and you guys gotta remember, like as an appointment setter, you do not get paid unless someone shows up to your calls and buys, right? So why not do as much as you can on that setting call to make sure that these people actually show up and they're actually like primed to buy, right? Some people would be like, "Oh, this is such a closer thing to handle. Like, don't even talk about it in a setting call. Like, you might ruin it." I agree. Like, if you're shady, like you might ruin it, right? But like, if you learn these skills now and you get good at it now, not only will this help you as a closer, but this will help get your show up right as well. Like once we started implementing this and obviously the rest of the stuff that I'm showing you inside of our teams, like I have a guy on my team that has like 85 or 90% show rate on his sets. Like it's pretty crazy, right? Because we're pretty much eliminating every single reason of why someone wouldn't show up to a call. And these are the reasons why they wouldn't show up to a call. Okay. So number one, they didn't know they had a call. Obviously, if they're talking to a setter, they're going to know they have a call. So like this is kind of not non-applicable. Number two, they don't know what the call is about. So that's why pitching the call is super important and pitching the call in the right way so they understand what the call is going to be about. Okay. Number three, they don't know how the call is going to help them, right? That's again why pitching the call is so important and why you're doing it. Like you got to think about the closer's pitch is so important, but also your pitch as a setter is important, right? The closer's pitch is going to get is what's going to get them to buy, obviously, if they did discover it correctly. Your pitch for them to show up is how you pitch the call, right? And then number four, which is obviously the one that usually happens the most, is that they're just scared about the call. They're not sure what's going to be about. They're scared they're going to have to pay on the call. They're scared about this, da 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 da. And this is the same skepticism of why they probably won't show up to the call, right? So, and it's the same reason with closing, right? The same reason why someone did not buy last year is the same reason why they may not buy today. And this goes for the same reason why someone might not show up to their call last year is the same reason why they might not show up tomorrow, right? So we need to handle this, okay? So all we really need to do here is like, yeah, dude, I get it, right? It's just been that little thought in your head of like, oh, dude, all these people are skeptical, da 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 da. But if we keep giving into that skepticism and we keep that from us trying, and we never do try, where does that leave us? They might say like, oh, I'm just going to be in the same spot. We need to dig into that and be like, okay, well, what does that mean? Oh, that just means still working the job, still stressed out. Okay. And I don't think that's why we're here, to be stressed out. I don't think that's why we're here. So how willing are you to get over that skepticism so you can leave your job and show up for your family like you're wanting to? Well, I'm willing. And then this is where you would transition into um, more of like the why now and urgency type of question. So we've already figured out the mental block. The mental block is the skepticism. We've done a little bit of consequence of like, and if we keep giving into the mental block, if we keep giving into the skepticism, where is that going to leave you? In the same spot. Okay. So now we would ask the urgency question like, okay, so, and I know you've been mentioning before that skepticism has held you back for the past 3 years. Why today do you want to finally let go of it? Why today do you want to finally get rid of that skepticism so you can show up for your family like you're wanting to, right? Something along the lines of that, but again, make it specific, right? So why today do you want to finally get over that skepticism, right? And then some of the acceptable answers, and there's a lot of variations of this, will be like, dude, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? That's like a question of like, dude, I give up. Just like, yes, I'm ready to do something, right? An unacceptable answer is like, oh yeah, I'm not getting any younger, or like, yeah, the second best or the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. Like all those answers are BS, right? But if you did this correctly, like how I look at just sales calls in general, it's all dominoes, right? Like if you fuck up one part, the next part's gonna be fucked up, and the next part, and the next part, and the next part, right? Because if you don't get a good time gap, you're not going to be able to find a good mental block, right? If you don't get a good mental block, you're not going to be able to have the urgency question hit hard enough, right? So like it's all just dominoes, right? So, but let's say we get that answer of like, dude, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Then we transition to be okay, dude, and dude, I get it, right? And it's just one of the things. It's like we can't keep holding on to it if we want to get to where we want to be, right? Then we transition it into like the financial qualifying situation. So this is where it's kind of up to you where you want to financially qualify. And I'm going to be honest, not to like judge or anything. It's all kind of dependent on their application and what they say they do for work and all this stuff. Like if someone at the top of a conversation tells you, oh yeah, I've been living on food stamps for the past 3 years, like you're going to want to financially qualify earlier before all of this, because you might just do all of this for no reason, right? So it kind of depends when you want to financially qualify. But like, let's say like the one I mentioned before, he was an engineer and he makes 70, 80 grand a year. Like he probably has some money or probably has a way to get money. So we can probably financial qualifier later in the conversation once we actually find the gap and we find a need, right? So, but this is how we would financially qualify. So, dude, everything sounds really, really good. And I just want to make sure this makes sense for you too. Cause like, obviously you're starting a business here, right? And in order to start a business, there's going to be some upfront costs for the business. And there's also going to be a need for like access to the right information, right? So I guess how much cash would you say you have set aside so you can leave that job and show up for your family like you're wanting to? So I'm giving them context of why they would need money. And then I'm asking, how much cash would you have set aside so you can get to desired outcome, right? Because most people, if you just ask like, oh, how much money do you have? You're gonna be like, hey, leave me alone, right? But I'm always asking that question in relation to where they want to be. How much money do you have so you can get to where you need to be, right? So um, this is where they might throw you on a wheel or a little circus, but I'll show you exactly how to handle it. Okay. So if you get a number, like let's say your program is 5K and they're like, I have like 4 or 5K set aside. I don't even need a price drop. I don't even need to say anything. I'll be like, okay, cool. That sounds amazing. And then we can just move on with the conversation, right? But if they say like I have $1,000, or if they say something along the lines of like, well, how much is it? Right? Which people get. And honestly, I don't get this very much anymore. Like even when I'm on the phones and stuff like that. I usually used to get this when I was unconfident on the phones because my unconfidence could probably just show through the phone. I don't get this very much. You guys probably get this a lot, which means you might need some more training. But they might say something along the lines of, "Well, how much is it?" Right? The key here is like we don't really want to price drop because everyone just gets scared when they price drop and like it just doesn't help the conversation really. So yeah, we don't need a price drop. All we need to really say is like, well, we do have a few different options and it's kind of all dependent on like the level of support you need, right? Some people need less, some people need more, right? But just to see if any of them actually make sense for you, like what are we kind of playing with just to see how we can help. So you're doubling down with the question. Oh yeah, dude, I can definitely point you and tell you which one makes the most sense. We have different options depending on how much like support you need. But like how much are we playing with just to see if any of them make sense. Um, if we get a number, or sorry, if we get a number that's enough for a payment plan, again, move on. If we get a number that's not enough for a payment plan, let's say they say like, oh, I have 1K set aside, and let's say it's a 5K program or whatever, probably not enough to get started. I would ask, okay, cool. And is that what you were hoping to invest, or is that all you have to invest? Again, I just want to see how I can help. Because most people are just going to lowball you. They'll be like, oh, yeah, I have $1,000. Okay, is that what you're hoping to invest, or is that all you have to invest? Again, I just want to see if this even makes sense. If they say that's what I was hoping to invest, again, you need to triple down. You'd be like, dude, I get it. Don't worry, and don't worry, I'm not the IRS or anything. Like, I'm really just doing this so we don't waste any of your time or anything like that. How much are we kind of messing? Like how much do we have in total? I just want to see if I can help. And hopefully by the third time around, like usually it won't come to this, but like sometimes it does. Hopefully by the third time around, they actually answer your question. But like, let's say that they say, hey, I do have 1K to invest, and that's all I have to invest. Like, normalize and be like, dude, that again, that's not a problem. Most people start that. Like, you gotta remember, like, most people are like, if they're looking for help, they're probably a little insecure about their finances. Like, don't be like, oh my God, you're so broke. Like, oh my God, that's why you're here, right? Like, you don't need to do any of that. Just like, dude, I get it. Like, dude, a lot of people start around there too. Um, we even do have some options that would make it a little bit more easy for you as well. Like, um, in order to figure it out, it'll just kind of depend on a few different things. So we can figure out if financing would make sense, right? So usually for financing, it's kind of pay or depending on their obviously their credit limit. It could be dependent on their credit score and then how much they're saving after all expenses, right? So like if you're using something like Split It, some of you might know what that is. It's all dependent on their credit limit and then obviously how much they have after all expenses. If you use something like Affirm or Klarna or like My Abundant or whatever, it's dependent on their credit score and then obviously how much they have after all expenses so they can actually make the monthly payments and stuff. So again, you need to ask these things, but the most clear thing is like, or sorry, the most key thing is you just got to make it not sound weird, right? I'll give you guys an example. Like my first ever sales manager ever, he told me about a time where it was his first ever sales job ever. He used to have to cold call churches to sell them like marketing services and stuff like that. And as you know, churches probably aren't the most open to talking about how much money they make per month, right? So when he was a beginner, he would be like freaking out on the phone, be like, how much money do you guys have like per month, like making?" And then you're breaking out like people are gonna hang up on your ass, right? But if you ask it like all the other questions, like let's say we remember, oh yeah, like what do you do for work? Very confident, straight to the point. Like I ask that question every single day, type of thing, right? So if we ask these questions too, like we ask it every single day and we're confident, like we don't get as much pushback, right? Like, okay, cool. I mean, dude, we do have a few other options, like, and we can see if these work for you. They kind of depend on like credit score because it's more of like a buy now, pay later option, like Affirm or Klarna. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but like just to see if it even makes sense for you. Like what's your credit score looking like right now? If they have like a 700 credit score, cool. And then what I'd be like, okay, cool. And then obviously there'll be like monthly payments and stuff. Again, it's kind of all dependent on like what package you go with and stuff. How much would you say? Like, and again, this is just to see how I can help. How much would you say, like, after all expenses and stuff like that, like, are you saving per month? I'm saving like 6 to 800 bucks. If you have a 5K program, like, that's more than enough, right? So, like, okay, dude, like we can work with that, right? So, like, if they have that, that's amazing. If they're like, yeah, dude, like, I don't have enough. I have a 500 credit score and I have, again, $1,000 and that's all I have to invest. Maybe you have a downsell for like 300 bucks. This is where you can start pitching the downsell, right? So, it's pretty simple. It's almost like a closing type of thing. All you really need to do, because you already built the gap, right? If you did all of this correctly, so all you need to do is pitch it, right? So, like, let's say you have a $300 product. And dude, some of my setters make a killing off this stuff, because like we have a $497 product and we give them $100 per downsell they get. So like some of my guys are making 200-300 bucks a day just off that downsell, right? Um, so all we have to say is, like we mentioned before, we have a few different options based on like different levels of support. For right now, like the small group coaching, and like the more intensive coaching probably doesn't make the most sense, like, financially right now, which is totally fine. But we do have an option that probably make more sense for you. And no worries, like, a lot of our students start here in the first place, and then work their way up to the group coaching. Would you want to hear about that? Yeah, of course. And then you pitch the downsell. You'd be like, we get an A through Z video course that shows you X, Y, and Z. You get a community, da 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 da. Then you get a tie down, so like a closing call, and be like, okay. And do you feel like that can allow you to at least get started, so you can eventually leave that job like you're wanting to? Yes, it can. Okay, why do you feel that way? Oh, because of X, Y, and Z. Cool. And then try to take payment on the call. Okay. So that's also a huge thing too. Like, you can get some really, really good reps as a setter for closing by selling down sells. So if it gets to that point where you have the down sell, this is how you do it. Okay. But like, let's say we get to, sorry, I know there's a lot of movement. Let's say we figure out they have enough money for our 5K product or whatever. This is where we're actually going to set up the appointment. Sorry, all this yapping has got me thirsty. Anyway, but yeah, if they're financially qualified, this is where we actually set up the appointment. Okay, so all you really need to say from here is, yeah, dude, and everything sounds good. It's just like you mentioned before. It's just been that little skepticism that's stopping you from getting to where you need to be. So, dude, what I'm really really willing to do is get you on a call with one of our coaches. What this call will be about is it'll be making you like a custom game plan of how we can actually get you out of the job, and so you can show up for your family like you're wanting to. Because everyone has totally different situations, right? Like the last guy I was talking to, he was a college student, and we had to make it work in with the schedule and stuff like that. It's like, dude, it'll be the same thing for you, just kind of creating a custom game plan, but more importantly, a roadmap so you can leave that job and show up for your family like you're wanting to. Would that be helpful for you? Like, again, this will eliminate. Where is that? This will eliminate the reasons why they wouldn't show up to the call, right? Because obviously this one's not applicable, but it'll be like, we're showing you exactly what the call is about, and we're showing them exactly how it's going to help them, right? So like, let's say we get to that, and they're like, yeah, that would be helpful. Cool. Um, sorry. Let's say they say, yeah, yes, it would 100%. Okay, cool. What's a good time for like a 30 to 45-minute Zoom call tomorrow? We have some slots in the afternoon or morning. Which one works better for you? Always just go binary here because it just gets the job done quicker. Oh, morning works better. Okay, cool. We have some time slots at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. By the way, what time zone are you in? EST. Okay, cool. Us too. We have some slots at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Which do either of those work for you? Yeah, 10 a.m. works. Okay, cool. And then what you want to get is a double tie down, right? So they're telling you a time, right? But it's like, how I like to think about it is like, let's say I came up to you and I was like, hey, I like your shoes. You never even know if I actually like your shoes. Maybe I want something out of you, right? But if I'm like, oh, I like your shoes. What do you like about them? Dude, they're green. I like the laces. Dude, they're so clean. Da 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 da. Cool. This guy actually likes my shoes, right? So like, we're just getting a double tie down, right? So it's like, okay, cool. 10 a.m. Works. Okay, cool. And just double checking too. Like, there's nothing that could pop up that wouldn't allow you to come to the meeting, right? Maybe if it was like Godzilla coming to town and wrecking everything. Is there anything that would pop up? Usually, obviously, you read the room, bro, and you can make up your own jokes like you're wanting to. This just works really really well. This is what I learned like at my first ever setting job. But just read the room. Like, if you're talking to like some 70-year-old, they might not laugh at that. So read the room, but throw some joke in there. Be like, no, no, dude, everything will be good. Hopefully, Godzilla doesn't come to town. Again, laughing tone, ha ha. Ha. Again, if we sound more like a customer support rep than a sales rep, we will win. Our show rate will be good. I promise you. Okay. So this is when you'll start booking an appointment. Amazing. Start booking the appointment. I mean, you can throw another joke here and be like, also too, you won't be distracted at this time either. Dude, yesterday we had a guy who was driving. He was on Zoom and he was eating a sandwich at the same time. It was unreal. You're not gonna be doing anything crazy like that, right? No, 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 dude. I'll be good. I'll be at home. Okay, cool. Just making sure. Yeah, I don't want anyone zooming and driving and eating a sandwich. It's not the best use of time. Make them laugh a little bit, and then just tell them the next steps. Okay. So amazing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put let's say we book it in, and I'll say amazing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you in a group chat with your coach. His name is Dylan. And that'll be a spot we can all chat in. Dylan's a cool guy. Don't be scared of him. Also in that chat too, what I'll do is I'll send over a quick video to check out. It's just important that you check that out, just so you know, like the call and everything will be worth your time. Do you think you could check that out before your call? Yeah, yeah, of course. Okay, cool. Yeah, everything sounds really, really good. Again, I'll make that group chat with your with the coach right now, and you'll be good to chat at 11 a.m. By the way, what time zone again? EST. Huh, there you go. I was just asking you. Anyway, talk soon, dude. Hope you have a really, really good rest of your day. And then when you see that group chat in like 10 seconds, just make sure you respond. Okay. Boom. Easy, simple. Okay. Cool. So like, let's say we do all that correct, and we're reading tonality, like they sound bought in, like we've pretty much went over every reason why they would not show up to the call. Okay. So we're done on the call, right? Also, too, if you want to, you can add in like making sure that they check their email to click yes to the Google invite. That's the thing you could definitely do, or you could just have them do it in the group chat if you feel like you did a good job here. The biggest thing too, like we just don't want to sound needy, even though we are asking them like 3 different times if they can do things for us. Like, just don't sound needy. Just make it sound like, yeah, dude. And by the way, you'll do that for your sake, not for our sake, but for your sake. Um, and be pretty simple. Okay. So here's the text that I would send in that group chat. It's best if you use iMessage rather than like Android. But yeah, so I would just say, hey, Dylan, this is Kishan from Closer Cartel. Just making this group chat to connect you and James, like I mentioned before. Here's that video we talked about before. Just drop a quick text when you see this. Thank you. Something simple like that. Um, I know I keep talking about a video, so I'll explain what that video will be about. Most good offers will have some sort of pre-call homework. I don't like calling it pre-call homework to the prospect's standpoint because nobody likes homework, so we'll call it something different. But this will showcase testimonials, frequently asked questions about the offer and the company, and more about the business model, that kind of stuff. So if you have a good offer, they should have something like that just to prepare your prospects for the meeting. Another great text to send, maybe like the morning of their meeting. So like maybe at 8 a.m. because they have that call at 10 a.m. Eastern. Hopefully they're responding in the group chat before the call. Like maybe as soon as you make the group chat, they should be responding if you did your job right. You can just send a quick text like, "Hey, James, do you have that Zoom link for your call at 10 a.m. Eastern time?" Super simple. The reason why you would want to send this text as opposed to like, "Hey, you still good for your call?" Like this is actually a valid question and not something annoying, right? Like, hey, do you have the Zoom call that do you have the Zoom link that you'll need at 10 a.m.? It's either yes or no question, right? As long as I can get their attention and they have a yes or no question, we'll be fine, right? So provide actual like a valuable question, like, hey, you need the Zoom link. Do you have it? Yeah, okay, cool. If for whatever reason they're not responding, again, if you did all this correctly, who knows? Maybe the fear came up again or whatever, or they just forgot, which they shouldn't forget because you're talking to a setter. This is a good question to ask, or sorry, a good text to send if they're just not responding for whatever reason. I would just say, hey, just let us know you're still interested in leaving your job and making this like a or source of income, like you mentioned before. Just want to make sure you're good because we do have another person asking for that 10 a.m. slot. So just let us know, please. Something simple like that, kind of showing scarcity of like, listen, like we'll have to give your slot to someone else, but like, are you still interested in desired outcome, right? So this is it. This is the wow, this is long. This is the ultimate appointment setting, phone setting guide of exactly what you need to say on call, how to set your appointments, how to make sure they show up, and how you can make a fuck ton of money as an appointment setter. Okay. So I hope all of you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you like breakdowns like these. I will make a closer one like this as well if you guys would like. And again, if you want to work with me and my team and get some more hands-on help of finding the best roles and making a lot of money in this sales space, obviously, if you show up and do the work, click the link below and we'll see if we can help. But I will see you guys in the next one.